Namaste and greetings to all. Welcome to a unique event that mixes and unravels magic and science. My name is Sri Jagannathan and I'm based in California and I help drive innovation and partnerships for Agastya. This event is the brainchild of the Radical Innovation for Social Change Center at the University of Chicago. RISC was founded by Professor Stephen Levitt, the author of the best-selling book Freakonomics. RISC investigates bold new ways to tackle the world's biggest social problems. Stephen's team looked at Agastya and proposed this unique event to look at science in the world of magic through the mind of one of the world's foremost magicians, Joshua Jay. But first, let me introduce another famous Indian magician, Ramji Raghavan, the founder of Agastya. Ramji left his stellar banking career in London 25 years ago to change the lives and bring magic into the lives of over 15 million children so far. Over to you, Ramji.
Thank you, Sri, and namaste to all. When my partners and I started Agastya Foundation in 1999, we asked a simple question. What is missing in learning and education? And we concluded that what was missing was curiosity, the spirit of inquiry, the process of observation, awareness, discovery, experimentation, association, the whole creative learning process. And from this came Agastya's mission to spark curiosity, nurture creativity, and instill confidence and a sense of caring through hands-on experiential learning among underprivileged children and government school teachers. And as Sri mentioned, over the last 20 years, we've reached over 15 million children in this hands-on, creative, experiential way, and 250,000 school teachers. Today, in the midst of the COVID crisis, we've come up with a new, expansive vision for Agastya, Agastya 2.0, whose goal is to reach and impact 100 million children and 1 million teachers across India in the next 5 years. And now I'd like to show you a short film on Agastya. Pragya, over to you. When you see something new, surprising, even counterintuitive, you go, ah. And the ah is very important because in the ah, your mind is awakened. Your curiosity is stimulated. You want to find out why and how something happened. And if you do find out, you go through the creative learning process, you experience the famous aha effect. So ah and aha are profound ways of learning, in fact, of living. But there is a third element. I'm sure Joshua relates to this very well. And that is you must have fun doing what you're doing, the joy of learning, of being deeply, deeply immersed in what you're doing. And that is the ha-ha element. So another way of stating Agastya's mission is to say that we're in the business of disseminating the spirit of ah, aha, and ha ha. And few people in the world exemplify and live and breathe this spirit than Joshua Jay. Joshua is a world-famous magician, lecturer, and author. He has performed in over 100 countries. He's won the top prize at the World Magic Seminar in 1998, and he holds a Guinness record for card tricks. And talking about card tricks, I've heard the story of Joshua, the young boy. His father brought home a pack of cards and demonstrated a card trick. Great, except he wouldn't explain to him how it was done. I have no doubt that young Joshua's curiosity had been massively stimulated, and he disappeared into a room and played with the deck of cards and drew charts and diagrams till he found the trick. So, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen of India and many others around the world, we are thrilled on behalf of the Agastya Foundation to invite Joshua Jay to perform his magic on stage today. Thank you, and over to you, Joshua.
Well, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. I am very excited because I've put together a program for you that is very different from any magic show you've ever seen. You see, you are used to watching a magician and not knowing at all how a trick is done. But in this case, I am going to tell you the secrets to my tricks, or in some cases, we're going to try and figure out those tricks together. So to begin, I want to use every single person watching at home, all of you, adults, kids, everybody has to participate. If you don't, I will know because I can see on your video. So everybody do this for me. Put your hands out like this, wiggle your fingers. Put your pinkies up and thumbs down. That's important. And I'm going to switch over to gallery view so that I can see many of you. Good. Okay, pinkies up, thumbs down. Cross one hand over the other and then lock your fingers together. Interlock your fingers and don't let go. We never let go throughout the whole thing. All right, now wiggle your pinkies. Wiggle your thumbs. And here's the tough one. Wiggle your right middle finger, just the right middle finger. Sri, I can't see if your hands are up. Okay, there you go. Now it's on the left side. That's good. It's hard because sometimes when you go to wiggle your right middle finger, it's on the left side. Okay, wiggle your pinkies, wiggle your thumbs, and remember, we never let go. We never, ever let go. And now I want everybody to do this. And I think you'll see that's rather impossible. Do this, do this. Welcome to the show. What in the world just happened? Well, I'm going to tell you. You just fooled yourself. Congratulations. Ramji was talking about the aha, and the ha-ha moment. You just got the first two of those moments, and we're going to see if we can figure out the third one together. Now, the reason that I chose the words carefully, you fooled yourself, is because we used some brain science on you. Magic and neuroscience are quite closely related. And in fact, a lot of neuroscientists work with magicians because magicians have a unique understanding about how to deceive the brain. So in his book, Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman, world-renowned neuroscientist, he talks about two specific kinds of thinking, System 1 and System 2. And all of you watching right now, boys and girls and adults, you are already engaged in System 1 thinking. That's blinking. We blink 14,000 times a day, which means 23 minutes of every day that we're awake, our eyes are closed, but you don't even realize it because you're blinking, you're breathing right now. You don't have to think about breathing. If you get thirsty for a glass of water, you reach for some water and you take a sip. And you don't have to think about that. You don't have to think about extending your arm, retracting it back where your lips are. This is System 1. You're doing it all the time. But Kahneman in his book also talks about system 2. System 2 is problem solving. That takes computation. It takes thinking. And when people think, when they engage in system 2, have you ever noticed this about yourself? You do this. You look typically up and to the right. That's where we look physically. We're not looking at anything. That's where we look when we're accessing information. So, for example, if I said to one of you, tell me how to get from your house to your school, you might go, well, I go down the street, then I take a left, and then there's a right-hand turn at the stop sign. You look up and to the right. Now, that's part of it, but that's not all of it. I hope you're following along with me and thinking about things, because my guess is you're thinking to yourself, he must have done something quick and flipped his hand around when I wasn't looking. No, 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 no. That would be me fooling you. You fooled yourself. Because you see, our senses are least aware when we are switched between system 1 and system 2. So let's see if you can catch me this next time when I switch you from system 1 to system 2. So we're going to do that same trick again. And this time, if you're watching carefully, you're going to catch me. Okay, so everybody hands out like this. Pinkies up, thumbs down. Cross one hand over the other and lock your hands together. And I say, you'll remember, I say never let go. Now, wiggle your pinkies. That's system 1. That's system 1. It's not hard to wiggle your pinkies. You know where they are. You probably can stay looking at me while you're doing it. Then I say wiggle your thumbs. That's system 1. It's not hard to wiggle our thumbs. We know where they are. But now I switch you to system 2 because I say wiggle just your right middle finger. Now that's not hard, but it's not so easy that you don't have to think about it. And in that moment, when I say wiggle your right middle finger, this is what I did. That's right, Sri. Yeah, just the right one. There you go. Now you have it. It's complicated because it's on the left side. I uncrossed my hands. And when I put them back, I didn't put them back in the same way. I put them back in a way that looks the same, but is very different to the way you put your hands. And then I switched you back to system 1 by saying, we wiggle our pinkies, we wiggle our thumbs. Remember, we never let go. I just let go. I'm telling you, I never let go, and I just let go. In this way, magicians are able to cause you to erase a memory. And now when I do this, you can't do that. And you have a magic trick that you can amaze your teachers, your friends, and your family. Everybody go like this. Show some love. Let's see how we're doing. And by the way, I'm going to be watching this chat room. I know we're going to do some questions immediately following my show, but some of these are going to be so specific to what I'm teaching that I want to make sure I cover it. So if you have questions for me, please put them in the chat in this Zoom, and I will be watching it. Any questions on this so far? All right. I want to now share with you a great magic trick, but a magic trick that has an even better lesson. And this is a lesson that is so critical for learning and how we learn, because it deals with assumptions. I'm going to perform it for you first, and then we're going to learn it together. Everybody watch me like a hawk. A deck of cards. Jack of clubs. That's the card that we're going to cause to change. I'll leave it in full view there on top of the glass. And I take an imaginary card and throw it at that Jack of clubs. Now, by placing on the glass, you can see below and above that card. My hands are empty. And that card changes. Now, how in the world could this be done? We have this slogan in magic that if a magician can get you asking the wrong questions, you'll never come up with the right answer. So let's think about what some of those questions could be. If I were you, I would be sitting there going, must be a trick deck. But no, this is a normal deck of cards. Or I must be sitting there thinking, okay, what he must have is a trick wine glass that has a mirror in it. Something to keep, no, this is a clear wine glass. I use it so that you can see under and above the deck. Okay, well, magicians are very clever. They must have some secret sleight of hand that as he takes the deck and puts it down, he's secretly cutting it. Where does that 4 of hearts come from? Where does the Jack of clubs go? These are all the wrong questions. And as long as you're stewing on the wrong questions, you'll never come up with the right answer. Because the real answer that we're going for is that I didn't do anything to make the magic happen. It was all in the setup before the magic happened. And for this, we use a little bit of psychology and then a little bit of science. Because you see, I begin with the card that I want to have changed, secretly in position where you would least expect it, which is right here on top of the glass. But of course, I'm playing with your eyes. I'm playing with camouflage. You can see that card now, but the way that I've propped up this glass is on top of a series of books, which makes the top of this glass exactly eye level to my camera. If I was doing this for you in real life, I would set it up for eye level to your audience when you're seated in your seats right there. I know that it's eye level because if it wasn't eye level, you would be seeing into the glass or underneath the glass. But exactly at this point with those books, it's flat, it's eye level, which means that I can take a thin object like a card, which is really visible like this or like this, and I can make it almost invisible. And when I place this line on this card, it's there. And if you're looking for it, maybe even some of you, if you squint, can see that card on that glass. But this is where I say there's part science, so it blends in, it's not there, and part psychology. The psychology part of this is when you look at me, you see somebody who's wearing a blue blazer, you see somebody who's sitting in a sunny room, you see a wine glass, but you don't think to yourself, oh, a wine glass. I wonder if there's a playing card laying on top of it. Why would you think that? You don't even know that that trick is coming. There's no reason that you would be seeing this, even though you are seeing it. Because in magic, we have another expression. I told you one already. If you can get someone asking the wrong questions, they'll never find the right answers. But the second one is seeing and perceiving are different. You can see this. I know you can because I'm looking at it in my viewfinder. I know you can see this card, but you don't perceive this card because you have no reason to raise your awareness about it. So now I can take a contrasting card. That's a red card with a number, and this is a picture card that's black. And I can take this card, show it with empty hands, place it on top of a glass, and now I can call attention to the fact that you can see, oops, we don't want it to go everywhere, that you can see under it and you can see over it, but at no time at all can you see through it, which is why those cards end up going perfectly through. So you take off the card, you show it there, and you have done an amazing color change. I hope you enjoyed it. Keep those questions coming. I want to see what's happening in the chat right now. Let's see. Magic can help us achieve 21st century goals. Well, I hope so. And we can talk about that later in the question aspect. It's incredible. Nice. How magic tricks build interest towards subjects. Okay, great. Very nice video. Wow. Okay, no questions so far in any of these concepts. That's wonderful. I want to now share with you a classic magic trick and really teach you. So I need somebody who has brought with them a coin. You were told to bring a coin. It can be any coin. I'm using a $50, but you can use any kind of coin from the currency in the country you're in. Hold up a coin. Okay, I see a coin from Maitre Unde. I hope I'm saying your name right. If the person organizing this can possibly find Maitre Unde, I would like to welcome you into our virtual showroom. We'll see if we can get you in. And you can unmute yourself and perhaps explain to me exactly how to pronounce your name. I want to make sure I get it right. If we can't find Maitre, maybe you can bring in anybody who has a coin that's holding up a coin so we can do this together.
She needs to unmute. Yeah, she's unmuted.
Okay. Hello, can you explain to me how you pronounce your name, please?
Maitre Unde.
Maitre. Okay, Maitre. How old are you, please?
I'm 10.5 years old now.
10.5 years old. Are you ready to see and then learn to do an amazing magic trick?
Yes.
Okay, great. I don't see you in my speaker mode. Maybe if the person organizing this can do a shared screen so that the two of us can be together there, that would be great. And if not, pin me and I will show Maitre and everybody here this trick. Are we ready?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. I see you, Maitre. I hope you guys can see me pinned. Are we sure that I'm pinned so they don't miss this trick? The two of us together? Okay, I'm going to show it to you first. And this is not just an illusion that you see. This is an illusion that you will hear too. So you're going to watch me first and then we're going to do it together. Do you see the table? I'm going to push this coin, Maitre, right through the table. I want you to say stop anywhere here and I'll push it through at that spot. Say stop. Maitre, say stop. Okay, we're going to stop right here. Right here, this is the place we're going to go through the table. Watch. Did you hear that? Completely goes through. And now that coin is underneath the table. This is the illusion that we're going to learn together, which is again a balance of science and psychology. So everybody who wants to learn this trick, grab a coin, go to the kitchen, go anywhere that you can to get a coin. And ideally you need to have a table in front of you. If you don't, you can practice the moves without a table. And then as soon as we're done, run over to a table and you can learn this together. Now, this is all about assumptions. You know, thinking like a magician is something I've thought a lot about, but thinking like a magician is really another way of saying thinking like our audience. It's about empathy. It's about thinking about the thought process of somebody else and how we can disrupt it. So for example, it's a game of chess. It's a game of chess and wits of the mind. So I have to convince Maitre and everybody else watching that what you're seeing is exactly what you think you're seeing. So the first part of this is learning to take a coin and placing that coin right through the table. Now you've seen it twice. So the first part of this is the sleight of hand, and I'll explain the science on it afterward, but I want you to see the sleight of hand first so that you can see. Show a coin and hold it in your right hand. If you're right-handed, you hold it in your right hand. If you're left-handed, you would hold it in your left hand. But notice how I'm holding the coin. I'm holding the coin above the fingers. The fingers are beneath. They're not to the side. They're not above. They're below. I hold this coin. With my left hand, take the coin like this. Do you notice that I take it covering it? It's there, but I cover it with the fingers. This is to acclimate the viewer to the action. We're going to create a real action and then a fake action. So the real action is taking this coin. If you remember, I said to Maitre, I said, I'm going to take this coin and push it through the table wherever you say stop. So please say stop. And she might say stop here. And I say, okay, that's the exact spot that I'm going to do it. And now all of you are used to me taking the coin here. Now that you know the real action, we're going to learn the fake action. So hold the coin like this. Place your left hand in front of the coin. If you're left-handed, you would do it the same way, but take with the right hand. Place your left hand in front of the coin, and at the moment the left hand comes in front of the coin, you simply drop the coin onto the fingers. In other words, you drop it here. I see Shri dropped his all the way to the floor or to the table. That's okay, Shri. Magic is not easy. It takes a little practice. All right. You're going to come in front like this and drop the coin as you pretend to take. Now, in magic, everybody thinks that it's a move of the fingers, that no matter what you do, all these false moves, everything is all in the fingers, but it's actually in the eyes, because attention is where we put our focus. So watch how I move my eyes, and I can make this move perfect, and I can make this move terrible. Here's how to make it look perfect. Because my eyes followed the action. My eyes come here and follow to here. That's good. This would be not so good. You see, it's the same move, but you don't believe it now because I'm not believing it, because it's here. So you show the coin and you come here. Now, neuroscientists studied magicians, and we found out that a curved action draws the attention more than a straight action. We follow curves, and we think this comes down to a safety mechanism in human beings, that when we see a really fast action, maybe it's a bee that's coming at our heads, maybe it's a ball being thrown off a field into our way. When we see something fast, we look. We're drawing attention to that. That comes from our instincts to avoid predators and in nature. So when we take a coin and we just do this, not so good. But when we have a curved action, you can't help but look at this action. So we make a little arc. So what I'm going to do now that you know the fake action and the real action, is ask Maitreyi to come back, and we're going to see if she can work through this move as well. So Maitreyi, come on back into the screen. Unmute yourself, please. Unmute yourself if you can, Maitreyi. Hi, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Maitreyi? Okay, good. Hold the coin like this. Good. Bring your other hand. Good. And now we're really going to take the coin so we see the action. So remember, we're going to do a curve, but we're going to pick up the coin and move it to there. Try that for me. Excellent. That was perfect. You did it, but now I want you to follow. Good, with the eyes. Did you guys see that she followed it with her eyes? That was perfect. You have just taken a coin from one hand to the other. Not a big accomplishment, but you're about to make it magic. So now hold your coin in the hand again, in the right hand. Now this time, Maitreyi, you're going to put your left hand in front. You're going to let the coin gently fall. You're going to follow it with your eyes, and you're going to make a curve. Try that. Yes, that's it. And now you've got 50% of it. So now once you're doing this, you would move to a table. I don't know if you're in front of a table or not, but you would move to a table, and your right hand moves under a table. And now we come to the scientific part of this. If we can pin me again, we'll bring Maitreyi back in a second to try the second part. Here we go. So now that we're back on me, you've learned to do a fake take so they think the coin is here, and you go in front of the table. And now I could just do this and show it's gone and show it's back. But when you saw it, you would swear that you heard the coin move right through the table. And to do that, we use an auditory illusion. We're going to fool your brain into hearing the moment that the coin goes through the table. And to do that, we take advantage of the solid through solid nature of the coin. So when I pretend to take the coin and move beneath the table, it's on the underside of the table. But before that, I said to Maitre, I really took the coin and I said, you're going to tell me where to stop right here. And now I am tapping the coin on the table so you can hear it. You're used to that noise. So that when I say it's going to go right through that little mark on the table, I pretend to take it. And now under the table, listen to the noise I make. All I'm doing underneath the table is sliding it. So you see it here, but you're hearing it underneath. And when I push through the table like this, all I'm doing with that coin is flicking it on the top of the table, flicking it like that. And your brain puts together a different sound to a different action and makes them the same. Here's a secret. Movie makers know this secret. And that's why almost all the sound effects in movies, walking, a chain, the wind, birds singing, you're not seeing that. You're not hearing that in the moment when they film. They're adding those sound effects later. But when you put them together, it's a perfect illusion that it's all happening together. So when I pretend to take this coin and push it through, you're hearing what you think is on top. The moment that it goes through, you're hearing it and then it disappears, but you're really hearing it underneath. So Maitre, did you have a table in front of you? Yes? Okay, let's see if we can angle it toward the table and see if we can get this illusion perfect. Do you have a camera that you can, oh yes, perfect. Maybe somebody can hold it or you can just put it so we can see the table. Yeah. Oh, that's great. Okay, Maitre, we're going to start at the beginning. You show the coin in your right hand. And we're going to condition our audience to what we're doing. So we're really going to take it in that curved gesture and we're going to look at it. Try it. Good, perfect. Now we put it back. Yep, good. That's really, really good. I want you to try one more time the part through the table. So pretend to take it. Good. Go under the table. Put it there and give a really loud flick. And you have just done your first magic trick. Everybody give Maitre a big round of applause. That was amazing. Thanks, Maitre. All right. Let's see. Okay, we're going to keep going. Now I need to ask, I'm going to do one more trick and then we're going to open it up to questions. But to do this, I need to ask somebody in the audience to help me who has a deck of cards, perhaps an older student or a teacher. Let's see. Hold up a deck if you've got it. Okay, I see Aditya Jain. Aditya Jain, can we bring in Aditya Jain? Maybe you can unmute yourself. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I don't see you, but maybe you can come in and share spotlight with me and be side by side. There you are. Okay, that's perfect. How are you?
I'm doing great, sir.
Great. And am I pronouncing your name right? Aditya?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, great. Aditya, I have a deck of cards here. You have a deck of cards there. I want to show you a mathematical card trick. We've talked a lot about science, but for this last trick, I want to talk about math. So we'll be using this. And I want to begin with both of us mixing our decks of cards. So would you mix in a way that everybody watching can watch and see that you're mixing? Excellent. And I will show you, of course, that my cards are mixed up. They are not all separated by color. And I would like you to show me. I can't really see. Can you show a little closer to the camera? Yes, good. Okay, hold them between your hands just like this. Yes. And I don't want you to move them from this position because this is going to be important in a moment. Now, in a moment, we are each going to cut our decks at a random card. And I hope that we will cut to the exact same card, even though Aditya is all the way far away from me and I'm all the way here in the United States. But I want to show you mathematically how rare this is. So just hold the cards steady there for a minute, Aditya. If we both shuffle up a deck of cards, we have created 2 orders in that deck of cards. But how many orders are there in a deck of cards? Well, for those of you who know what this means, there are 52 factorial. That's how many orders there are in a deck of cards. That's 52 times 51 times 50 times 49 times 48, all the way down to 1. And the number of orders there are in a deck of cards is the number 8 with 68 digits after it. It's an incomprehensibly large number. It's a number so large that there are more grains of sand, not just in the country of India, but in the entire world. There are more orders in a deck of cards than there are grains of sand. That really blows my mind. And the thing is, you're going to start with this 52 factorial. We end up down here at this number with 8 and 68 digits, and we get to that number by multiplying 52 times 51 times 50 times 49 times 48, and so on all the way down. But we are going to each cut to a card. Now, the chances of us cutting the same color card are 1 in 2. The chances of us both cutting to perhaps a red card, 1 in 4. 16 over 169, that's the chances of us cutting to the same value, like a 4 or a 6 or a 9 or something like that. But the chances of you cutting to any card are just 1 in 52. The chances of me cutting to any card, just 1 in 52. But if I set a goal to cut to a specific card, in both of our decks, we multiply 1 over 52 times 1 over 52, and we get 1 over 2,704, or 0.0003 of 1%. That's how rare, that is how completely rare it is to add up all of these numbers, all this across here, and get to that number. You see? You see that?
Yes, sir.
So here's the amazing thing. I'm going to use this way here, all of these numbers, and we are going to do something rather incredible, but we're going to test it out. And to test it out, this is what we will do. Use all of these numbers together to cut to a specific card. So this is how I want you to do it. Aditya, in a moment, I'm going to ask you to cut either shallow or deep or anywhere that you want and place those cards on the table. So you go ahead and cut now. And place those cards on the table. And now hold these cards just here where we can see them. And don't let go. Hold it so it's above. And I'm going to do, of course, the same thing you do. I'm going to cut some cards and place them on the table and hold them just like this. Now, the odds of us cutting to the same color card, 1 in 4. The same value, 16 over 169, but the same everything, 0.0003 of 1%. I cut to the 4 of hearts. What card did you cut to? I mean, I don't understand how that works. But of course, this isn't impossible. It's not impossible at all. This is just rare, unlikely. What's impossible is that here, the whole time, upside down, buried within the math, is the number 4 and a heart. Thank you guys very much. Aditya, please stay in the room with me and I will explain to you how we do this trick. Now, we won't go through the math part of it. That will leave you in mystery about, but we are going to explain how in the world we can cut to the same card. Now, the mathematics behind cutting to the same card are all true. They're all there. But, of course, this was not mathematical. This was playing on your perception. This deals more with problem solving than with math. So what I say is we're each going to shuffle a deck of cards. You shuffle yours, I shuffle mine, and now I show you my cards really are mixed. And I say to Aditya, and would you please show us all of your cards are mixed? Would you show us? And of course, what I'm really doing is I am looking for what card is on the face of Aditya's deck. So in this case, it's the 8 of diamonds. So now I say to Aditya, put the cards between your hands, don't move them. And I know what card is on the bottom of his deck of cards. So now I go through my deck very casually and say, we're going to do a really impossible thing. And I cut the same card to the bottom of my cards. So now we each have the 8 of diamonds on the bottom. Now I go through all of the math, all of the different things. I make an upside down drawing of the 4 of hearts, or the 8 of diamonds in this case. And now I have to force this card. Magicians talk about using a force. This is a classic force with a new version by a magician named Adam Elbaum. It's a wonderful version. And we are going to misdirect your mind and let you fool yourself. So what I say is you can cut anywhere. You can cut a little bit, you can cut deep, you can cut really deep, anywhere you want. Please, Aditya, cut and put them on the table. Good. And I say hold the rest over your cards, but don't let go. Good. Now I do the same. I cut some cards and I hold mine over. But in doing this, psychologically, we make it look like you have just cut in the middle, but this is not the middle. This is not the middle. This is the top and this is the bottom. The middle is here, but we're not going to make it look like that. We're going to make it look like this is the middle. So now by talking for about 15 or 20 seconds, I cause your brain to do a reset. And it's in this reset that then I can say, let's see if we cut to the same card, and we hold it up. And we have cut to exactly the same card, 1 in 2,704 chance. But Aditya and you and I know it's actually a sure thing, 100%. Thank you, Aditya. Thank you to everybody. And I just want to say in closing that I don't really ever do shows where I share how the trick is done. But I really feel strongly, and I'm so glad that you're here today to see it, I feel strongly that the most interesting part of a magic trick is the hidden part. So when we talk about ah and ha, or ah and ha, and then ah, ha, ha, it's the ha, ha part, the part where you laugh and you say, I thought we were cutting to the same card in 2 shuffled decks. And it turns out it's so simple, anybody could do it. The ha, ha part is really the part that's the most fascinating, because it shows us that we're not stupid if we don't know how a magic trick is done. We're not foolish if we're fooled by a magic trick. If you're fooled by a magic trick, it means you're incredibly smart, because it means that you behave exactly like human beings are supposed to behave, and you make the same logical assumptions that we all make. Albert Einstein was not stupid. He was extremely smart, and he loved magic. And he was, by all accounts, very easy to fool because he was so rational. And that's what I find so interesting, is that we play on your assumptions, whether it's that you really cut the deck anywhere that you wanted, whether that the wine glass really could be seen above and below, but that it had a secret in the middle, that when we put our hands in a certain way, that I was putting them the same way you were, that I was telling the truth by saying we never let go, even though I just let go. When we put the coin through the table, we trust that the move is done here and not 20 seconds before here. All of these assumptions have to be questioned. And what is great science? What is great mathematics if not asking the right questions? Thank you guys very much for watching, and I look forward to taking your questions now.
Sorry. Thank you, Joshua. That was really wonderful. It was like being a kid again for me. But for the children, I can certainly see that it was really wonderful. I saw one on the chat line where a person had written very nice about 20 times. So you certainly have an excited audience.
Thank you.
In addition to the set of people on Zoom, we also have over, I think, 2,000 people watching on YouTube. So I'm going to take a few questions from the YouTube channel and ask you, um, do magicians really need to understand the science and the concepts, or are they just doing tricks?
Well, I think that when you ask a broad question like that, we have to either answer it in a broad way or a specific way. Magic is like anything else. There are people who take it very seriously and do it at a level that I would say is artistic. It's art. And there are many magicians who do it at a very low level. So some magicians are not scientists. Some magicians are not very interested in the subtle underpinnings of the methods of magic and the human psychology that we use. But most magicians are really fascinated by this, and they are masters of science and mathematics. It's no coincidence that some of the best magicians in the world are some of the best mathematicians in the world. And I have spoken on stage many times with very well-known engineers, scientists, mathematicians, because of the secret connection of magic and math. But for example, the huge difference is people who have mathematical minds, they want to show you the math. They want to write it all down so that you can see it. Our job is to use the math and then cover it up so it doesn't look like math.
So we have a question which is the exact opposite. As you mentioned, magicians are often scientists or mathematicians, or at least have an understanding of the underlying principles. The inverted question is, if I'm a student and I start doing magic tricks, will that help me understand science, math, and psychology better?
That's a great question. I mean, I don't want to speak for anybody else, but my answer to this question is absolutely it will. But here's what I can say generally. It's so useful to me, and I think to you, to have some sort of passion. And that passion might be magic, or maybe it would be chess, or maybe it would be basketball. But whatever your passion is, this becomes the lens that you see the world through. And that is going to help you out in all sorts of ways. So for me, when I look at a deck of cards, I don't see 52 pieces of paper that I can cut with one hand or do something with. I see possibilities. I see numbers that can be added or subtracted. I see colors that can be separated or put together. This is the way I see the world. And this has really helped me with my math. And in inventing illusions, can you imagine inventing tricks that will fool thousands of people like we have watching now? In order to do that, I have to pay attention to science articles and to my scientifically minded friends to ask them questions. Hey, let me ask you a question. If I put a glass down and I put a card, so just a thin line is there, will people see it? And if not, why won't they see it? And these are the sorts of questions that I think are super helpful and that help your other points of view.
Wonderful. Now, magic has a certain role in society. And one question from the audience is, should magic be taught in school as an aid for science and math and psychology?
Well, Sri, we've talked about this in other meetings, and we've had thoughts about this. I think magic is a wonderful tool because, unlike so many other things, magic is engaging. And think about the tools that we teach students when we're teaching magic, aside from science and math, which I've covered today. A huge tool that you're learning is public speaking. Public speaking is the #1 fear when people are asked to list their fears. It ranks above a fear of drowning, above a fear of falling, is the fear of speaking in front of people. And when I work with young magicians, one of the things that we find remarkable, we know we're not preparing hundreds of kids to have a full-time career in magic, but we're preparing hundreds of kids to be able to get up in front of a group and speak with passion and enthusiasm and not be nervous. That's a huge tool. The second tool is stick-to-itiveness. Magic tricks are projects. You don't learn a magic trick in 1 second that you can just perform. I mean, today we learned a great magic trick and she did a really good job. But if she really wants to perform that, she's going to have to practice. Maybe she's going to read different moves to take the coin. Maybe she'll practice in front of a mirror. And learning stick-to-itiveness, learning to see something through from the beginning to the end. When I work with kids, we're often building simple optical illusion magic tricks. So there's the part that's building, the part that's following along. So stick-to-itiveness. A third part is a love of reading. all of magic's secrets are passed down in books. So it's a really great way to encourage kids to read. So even if they never perform professionally or start doing shows, the idea that we can conquer public speaking, project management, and reading, in addition to all the lessons of math and science, to me, that makes this a great way to teach. And I have ideas on how it should be taught. I think science experiments can begin with a teacher doing a magic trick and amazing everybody. Wouldn't it be so great if we could show how liquid becomes solid, how to vanish a jar of liquid, how to vanish a pail of stones, and then show that it really isn't magic, it's science. And there's one last thing that I'd like to say, and that is magic is very interesting as a tool to demystify the universe. You know, I think a lot of people are superstitious. A lot of people see something that they can't explain and they immediately think that it's a religious occurrence, or they think that it's a magic force of nature, that they think that it's just some unexplainable thing. But most things in this world have beautiful, logical explanations. They're just not things that we know about. And magic teaches us to appreciate the mystery, but also to dig deeper and to figure out those solutions.
Joshua, certainly we would love to work with you on how to bring those elements of teaching to our young instructor leaders, our teachers, and our students of Agastya. So would love to work with you on that. One question that has come up is, does learning magic and the underlying principles behind it help in real world situations with businesses and dealing with people, etc.?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's I can answer that question two ways. On the surface, yes, right? Because if you're doing a business deal, if you're meeting somebody for the first time, can you imagine how helpful it is to say, hey, we got to talk about some business stuff, but before that, pick a card. Let me show you something. It goes through the window. I mean, this is a great talent. It's a reason people will want to be meeting with you. And I have trained so many CEOs, so many business leaders, so that they can learn a couple of tricks to start a major meeting or an important business discussion or a negotiation by breaking the ice and doing magic. So on the surface, it's very useful in that way. But the reason that so many intelligent people have magic as a hobby, hedge fund managers, doctors, lawyers, dentists, so many people with wonderful, illustrious careers that you wouldn't know but are actually magicians, is that magic is just such a fulfilling hobby. When you get into magic and start reading the magazines and attending the conferences, you realize that this is a group of really smart people who are all about sharing and putting things together. And it really enhances lives. Like, I'm not sure if the instructors will know this name, but do you know Manjul Bhargava? He's the mathematical sensation. He won the highest prize in mathematics, and he's the head of mathematics at Princeton and also the dean of the Math Museum. Well, he's become a good friend because he loves magic. He came to one of my shows and afterward just wouldn't stop asking me questions about the tricks. And I spoke with him at the Math Museum and then again on stage elsewhere. And we meet up and we chat about things. And he recognizes the importance of mathematics. And he, as I recall, one of his big projects was completely redesigning the math curriculum for the entire nation of India. So, I mean, here's somebody who really has one foot in mathematics, but not many people know he's actually a very good magic-minded thinker as well.
Well, maybe we can bring that connection to bear as well as we work on bringing the magic of science and math to Agastya and the children of the world.
Would be great.
Another question is, since we talked about learning magic, would you recommend any specific books or approaches to learn magic for people who are interested? And a follow-on question, is that a career that people should be thinking about, or is this a useful pastime for most people?
Okay, so let's take the first part first. I've written some books. I'm not going to be the person that pitches my own books. They're widely available in bookstores that carry English language books. It's in 6 languages, but unfortunately, I don't know if it's available in India or not. My book for anybody over the age of 12 is called Magic: The Complete Course. And if you're younger than 12, I have a book called Big Magic for Little Hands, which I was honored that was on the New York Times bestseller list. It's a big book, all on magic tricks, many of them science-based, that you can do with things around the house. So a broomstick, an old pair of shoes, this sort of thing. There's a wonderful book for our older students on math that was written by one of the most esteemed mathematicians alive today, Percy Diaconis, and I think it's called Mathemagical, something like that. But anyway, this is a book all on mathematics as taught through a deck of cards, and they don't get any more exciting than Percy Diaconis. So those would be 3 books you could start with. Now, your second question is about, should magic be a career? And I'm a professional magician, but what I would say to the students at Agastya that are watching this right now, I wouldn't really think about magic as a career unless it becomes your burning passion. You know, for me, I went to university, but I knew all the way along as I took business classes and theater classes and math classes, science, I knew I was going to be a magician because it's what gets me up in the morning. It's what's so exciting to me. But I think magic is the best thing in the world as a tool, as a passion, as a way to grow as a person. You know, I'm somebody who, when I see something I don't understand, I have to figure it out, because that's what I do with magic, is I figure out magic tricks. And if magic can teach you how to be a more rational thinker, how to think through the eyes of your audience. I told you that magic is all about empathy. And empathy is so helpful, not just in business and in school, but in relationships. If you know how to think like your partner or your family, you're going to be such a better person for it, that magic can teach us amazing tools that very few other hobbies can.
That's beautiful. So I know we are approaching the top of the hour, but let me identify one very eager participant who's begging for one more trick from you, but maybe you can end with that. But before that, there's a question as to whether when you perform for large audiences is different than performing for smaller audiences. Is there a variant in terms of how you perform the magic?
Well, normally, yes, there would be a huge variant, but you know, the pandemic has equalized everything, because now whether I perform for 3 people or in this case several thousand people, my audience, my eye is right here. There's just one. So to answer your question, there's no change now. But of course, when I go to India to do my show, I'm on a big stage and I have a lot of props and a big thing and a microphone so that everybody can see and hear. We have video cameras projecting on a big screen, and that's how I can share my magic with people. But if we go to dinner, if you kids that are watching, if we were to just hang out and I visit your school, what's so much fun, and really my favorite kind of magic, is I'm going to show you magic right in front of your face, right under your nose, where you're touching and you're thinking of it all. And that's what's so exciting. So you asked if we could do something to end on, some exciting last trick, and let me see if we can do that. Can you pin me so that I'm in the showroom and everybody can see nice and big? Good. Okay. I'm going to show one last trick, and I hope that you enjoy it. So let's have, he's very handy, and he had a deck of cards in his hand. So let's bring Aditya back into the showroom for just a moment. Aditya, unmute yourself for just a moment. And would you just call stop for us, and then we'll have you pick a card.
Stop.
Okay. It's hard for me to see exactly where, but it looks like this is the place. So I'm going to place this card here where you can see it. Normally, I would have you hold on to this card, but of course, you're out there and I'm in here. So this is Aditya's card, everybody. Let's leave it right here in full view, and we won't look at it. So instead of finding this card, I will find the mates of this card, the other ones that match it. So for example, if I cut 11, 13, 7, 6, and 3, that should be the first one. That's the King of Diamonds. The King of Diamonds. I know he didn't pick the King of Diamonds, but what I know is that he picked a king, and that's how we're going to go through this. So that's the King of Diamonds. Now one more cut, and that should be the King of Spades. That's the King of Spades. So we've got the diamond and we've got the spades. One more cut, and that should be the King of Clubs. So we've got the diamond, the spade, and the club. Of course, the last one should be the King of Hearts. Agastya, I want to thank all of you for... Oh boy, this is embarrassing. This was supposed to be the King of Hearts. This isn't a very good way to end the show. But that's why I changed all of these cards to the aces. Every single card becomes an ace. It's been a pleasure to perform for you. I did something very unusual by revealing some of my tricks. I hope you use those tricks, but more importantly, I hope you use the concepts behind those tricks to amaze and to understand. Thank you guys for watching.
Joshua, I think we'll leave that trick for people to figure out by themselves or by buying the right books and playing with it. So first of all, I want to remind everyone to fill out the survey so that we may understand how you felt about this event. Please write to us at magic@agastya.org. Tell us what you liked and tell us whether you would like Joshua to help us do more of these events and maybe even bring it down to an Agastya mobile van, down to an Agastya Science Center, maybe a magic pavilion at the Agastya main campus that Joshua can come and inaugurate when he comes to India after the pandemic's over. So please do write to magic@agastya.org so that we might have more of these events. Joshua, thank you for a wonderful occasion of magic and learning. It's truly generous of you to stage this event for Agastya's children. I think the excitement was clearly evident during the show, and I'm sure it'll build as we go along and other people see it in the YouTube live channel at Innovation Express. Stephen, Atakan, and the RISC team, thank you so much for the inspiration which brought Agastya, the RISC Center, and Joshua together. This is an inspired thought process and innovation on your part, and much appreciated. Thanks finally to the Agastya team which made it happen, Srishail, Subbu, Pragya, Shravan, and many others who are part of the Agastya operations and media team. So finally, be safe and be magical in your lives. Thank you so much.
If I may just say something.
Please.
I can't speak for everyone, but certainly for Gina and myself. We experienced the magic of aha, and ha in spades.
And hearts and diamonds.
Thank you,
It's
Joshua.
amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much
Thank you
for
all
watching, all of
for
you.
participating, and thank you, Joshua. Namaste.